Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is D. Real quick, I wanted to talk about the 1997 film Event Horizon. I watched this movie for the very first time about a week ago.
Let me see if I can get some power up.
I watched it late at night, and actually the very next day I went ahead and rewatched it again. It was kind of that interesting of a viewing for me, and I actually, at the very beginning, before I ever watched the movie, I thought I had seen it before, but it turns out that I was getting the movie mixed up with a movie called Sphere that came out in 1998, a year after Event Horizon. And it makes sense because Sphere was PG-13 and Event Horizon was clearly a very hard R film, so there's no way I would have seen Event Horizon back in 1997 because I was like 12 or something like that at that point. So, but anyways, this for me is probably one of my new amongst my new horror favorites, just in terms of a completely satisfying and effective and well-made horror movie. And it has so many of the elements that I like in these type of movies. Very dark architecture of the Event Horizon ship has this very kind of gothic element to it. I enjoyed that in the film. The cast was strong across the board. Everybody gave a great performance. Laurence Fishburne as Captain Miller, I think, is one of the more underrated horror protagonists. Very just a real just good, strong leader who generally made smart decisions.
We're leaving.
Or at least, sensible decisions in this movie. I really like that. This movie didn't have a lot of that kind of traditional, unless I'm kind of forgetting some moments, it didn't have a lot of that traditional horror stupidity in terms of decision making by people that are involved, the crew and all those type of things. People generally, when they saw there was a threat, they tried to make the smart decision to distance themselves from the threat. There's a point where a lady, she has a scary experience in this kind of, I guess, laboratory area. I can't remember the specific room.
Lying on the examination table, and his legs were
Yes, if you don't mind my saying
crawling.
so. It sounds a little like shock. Could it be that you're traumatized by seeing the body
No,
of
excuse me, no! I've seen bodies before. This was different.
She's right. Now this is real.
But she later on, she's like, yeah, I'm not going to work in that room anymore. She doesn't go back there. It's just little subtle things like that where once people discover there's a problem, they don't waste any time trying to distance themselves from the issue. They're not really like, hey, let's explore further. Once they realize things are bad, they're not like, hey, let's keep exploring and that type of thing. So I just kind of enjoyed a lot of that kind of sensibility to what was happening. And it kind of proved that, at one point I was thinking maybe people just have to be stupid in horror movies in order for the story to progress. Because if you had a smart set of protagonists, the story wouldn't last very long.
How do you know all this?
And this movie kind of disproves that to a certain degree, because everybody here, for the most part, they weren't idiots. And, not that I can remember, they kind of made reasonable decisions, and they're facing such a horrible scenario that even if you make smart decisions, you most likely won't survive, which is an element of cosmic horror, which is kind of what this movie qualifies as, cosmic horror, which is kind of in the same vein as something like the 1979 Alien, and for sure something like The Thing, which, even though this movie isn't like The Thing, I'm saying The Thing is a cosmic horror film, at least to some degree. So, and I almost went this whole video without mentioning the obvious comparison, which would be Hellraiser, the 1987 original Hellraiser, to be more specific. I've seen a lot of people make comparisons with Event Horizon and Hellraiser. And after seeing Event Horizon, I definitely understand, why people were making that comparison. Now, personally, I think I enjoyed Event Horizon quite a bit more than I enjoyed Hellraiser, at least on the first viewing. Hellraiser, it was, I did review it, but I don't remember quite how highly I praised it, or if I kind of, maybe didn't like it that much. But I remember the movie kind of just having that kind of like, maybe you had to have been there back in the day for it to have, be one of those for you. It was kind of like that, where it's like, it didn't really do nothing too much for me in this day and age. But I respect the lineage and the reputation and the history and the fandom of the franchise. But Hellraiser didn't blow me away. Event Horizon was a much more entertaining film to me than the original Hellraiser, and even the recent Hellraiser reboot. And I never saw any of the original like Hellraiser sequels. I only saw the 87 film and the recent reboot. So either way, Event Horizon better than both. Event Horizon, all I'm really trying to say is this is a good horror film. I'm pretty sure I'm late to the party, but maybe you're late to the party as well. So if you haven't seen Event Horizon, definitely check it out. It is graphic. It is, it is a horror film, and there's stuff in here that some folks might not really be too into, or they might think it's kind of, on the bloody side. But if you're into gore and all of those type of things, this movie definitely has that, and all of its effects are well done. The CGI is early 90s or mid to late 90s CGI, 1997, but it's not like bad. It fits well, and it's mixed with lots of high quality practical effects and great set design as well. So it all comes together in a quality, satisfying film. So definitely check it out. Event Horizon, worth a watch. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.